Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be addressing an important question concerning APYs, in particular high staking rewards. So how much does a high APY really matter? And in this video, I'm going to talk about why it only really matters if you know you're going to be staking for a fair while, and also in the case that you're staking LP tokens, liquidity pool tokens, that you've done your research concerning permanent loss and that's not going to be an issue for you, right? In that case, a high APY is really worthwhile chasing. On the other hand, what I want to stress is that for those who are staking for passive income, which might mean that you're going to be taking rewards out of the pool fairly regularly, perhaps daily, perhaps weekly, to pay for food, to pay for rent and so forth, then high APYs really don't matter as much as you probably think it does. And that's because of the mathematical relationship between the daily rewards and the annualized rewards. Essentially what we have is that it takes a lot of APY. You have to lift the APY by a lot to make a small difference to the daily returns, right? So that's what we're going to be going through today. And also I want to talk about a free passive income calculator that I'll be giving away in the description below. So for the APY of any token, this calculator in Excel will work out for you how much your daily rewards are going to be. So this is quite useful for passive income stakers. All right, if you like this sort of content, please feel free to give me a like and drop me a subscribe. And let's begin. All right, so throughout this video, I'm going to be referring to a Medium blog article that I published on high APY staking on the Binance Smart Chain. Right, I'll link that in the descriptions down below. And inside the article, I'm going to be starting off with this diagram here that plots the relationship between the daily returns of a staking asset and its compounded annual returns, right? It's compounded annualized returns, the APY. And on the plot here, on the graph, I've labeled some popular staking options on the Binance Smart Chain, including Cake and Bunny, along with some of the higher risk ones. And I'm going to link down below some videos that I've done on what I believe to be some of the best staking opportunities on the Binance Smart Chain for passive income investors. So feel free to check that out. Right, now on this plot, the thing you'll note is the non-linear relationship between the daily rewards and the compounded annualized returns, the APY. So specifically, as we increase the APY linearly, okay, or steadily, the daily rewards don't go up linearly. In fact, we see diminishing returns, right? It's very interesting. And in fact, this effect can be seen a lot more prominently if we zoom out. So here we have a graph that goes up to 1000% APY. Allow me to zoom out 100 times. Okay, and then we end up with the graph down below in the article, which goes to above 100,000% APY. And look at this, right? Look at this. The effect is much more prominent. In fact, it looks like the daily rewards saturate. Now, saturate isn't quite the correct mathematical term to use because it implies that there is a cap or a ceiling. And in fact, here there is not, because the daily rewards effectively go up logarithmically to the APY, which means that it can go up higher and higher and higher and higher and higher forever, but at a much slower pace as the APY becomes very, very high. Now let's put some real numbers to this plot. So let's say you wanted a 1% daily return, right? Well, it turns out you need a 3,700% APY. In other words, a 37x in a year's time compounded to make that happen, right? So again, 3,700% APY is equivalent to getting 1% per day. Now, what if you wanted to double that 1% return to 2% per day? Right? Well, you have to increase your APY by a freaking lot in that case to get that 2%. In fact, you have to increase your APY from 3,700% all the way up to 137,000%. That's 2 orders of magnitude increase just to get a double in your daily returns, right? So to get 2% per day, you're going to have to increase your APY up to basically a 1,370x per year, right? That's it's quite a lot. Now, if you want, you can flip the axes around. So you plot APY versus daily instead. And we're going to get the same information sliced and diced a little bit differently. So in this situation here, what we're seeing is that as the daily returns increases linearly, because we know the power of the daily returns, right? It's very, very hard to increase the daily returns. What that translates to is as we increase the daily returns linearly, the APYs explode. Now, if you are interested in how I got these relationships and curves, I'd urge you to check out the Medium article. It's got all the lovely details. So here I show how we start from the compound interest formula, adapt it so that it has the APY and daily inside, and then we rearrange the formula to get the daily returns as a function of the annualized compounded returns. And that's how we get these logarithmic curves that we see here. All right, so feel free to check that out if you're curious. And so putting everything together, we have the bottom line, which is you need to answer the question, are you going to be taking out your staking rewards regularly, for instance, every day, right, to pay for food and so forth? Or are you going to be leaving your staking rewards to compound over a long time? Are you a long-term staking investor, right? Because if you're going to be taking out your rewards regularly, then don't waste your energy, right? You don't want to waste your energy chasing really high APY returns because you're not going to be able to leverage them, right? It doesn't matter if your APY is 100% or 1000%, you're not really going to get that much extra daily rewards, right? You're not going to be making that much extra daily money from chasing those really outrageously high APYs. Now, on the other hand, if you know you're going to be leaving your rewards inside the pool for a long, long time, okay, you don't need to pull out rewards on a short-term basis to pay for food, to pay for expenses. You're not really after passive income. You're after that long-term investment. Then that's when you really get to leverage the power of the APY, such a high APY, right? So on a daily basis, you're not going to be getting much returns, but that's okay. That's not your focus, right? As you leave the daily staking rewards inside the pool to compound, because the APY is so high, well, what we see is this very quickly, exponentially growing value of your assets. It's terrific. Now, with that said, I do kind of want to stress reality of life, okay, a fact of life, which is that it does turn out the very high APY returns, we're talking 5,000%, 10,000%, right, on the Binance Smart Chain. They are almost always LP token stakes, right? So you have to provide liquidity into a pool, right, for a pair. And often that's going to be a smaller altcoin along with a larger coin, say BNB or USDT stablecoin. And then you stake the LP tokens, right? And that's how you get these insanely high APYs. It usually is the case here that impermanent loss is going to be a problem, right? The longer you leave your assets staked. So it's kind of like a situation where it's going to be hard for you to have your cake and eat it too, right? Because to realize these insanely high APY returns, you need to stake the kind of assets that are probably not a good idea to stake in the long term because of impermanent loss, right? So this is something else I talk about in these dedicated videos that I have on certain assets to stake on the Binance Smart Chain. So if you go down to the descriptions below, I have a link to the Medium article and other YouTube videos where I describe these very, very high APY staking opportunities, the risks versus the rewards that you'll be accepting when you invest in these pools. And finally, there's a little calculator that I use in Excel which helps me work out staking rewards. It's quite useful for passive income investors along with the longer term investors. So let's say we're looking at PancakeSwap's native token Cake. Right, so that's currently staking at about 125% APY, and immediately I know that that's going to return 0.2% daily, right? So the formula that I have in here is actually the formula that we derive inside the Medium article and that I've been showing you earlier in the video. And let's say I have 900 Cake tokens, and currently the price of Cake is, let's say, $20. Then that means at the moment I have $18,000 worth of Cake, and in the next 24 hours, in other words, my daily returns, that is going to be 2 new Cake tokens, right? Which is going to be a value of $40 because the price per token right now is 20. Okay, so these two cells here appeal to passive income stakers. It's going to tell you how much rewards you can pull out on a daily basis. And if you're going to be leaving your Cake inside the pool to compound, then you want to look at these two cells, which tells you how much reward you're going to have in a year's time. So basically in a year's time, you're going to have 1,125 extra Cake, which is basically 125% of the 900 that you're staking. And that's going to be a value of 22,500 because each token is $20. $20 times 1,125 tokens, that's going to end up being $22,500. All right, so This calculator, this Excel spreadsheet is linked in the descriptions below. Feel free to take it and use it and adapt it to however it suits you. I hope you find it useful. All right, so the bottom line is if you're a passive income staker, right, if short-term cash flow is king, then don't worry so much about chasing those outrageously high APYs. You're not going to be staking long enough to really leverage the power of such high APYs. Now, personally, not financial advice, just my opinion, I think tokens like Cake, okay, so PancakeSwap's native token, which is currently staking for 107%, and Bunny, which is the native token for Bunny Finance, which is the largest yield aggregator on the Binance Smart Chain, which usually stakes for around 200% to 250%. These sorts of tokens offer a really good balance between profit and safety, right? These are single asset stakes. You're not staking liquidity pool tokens. And one thing I really like about Cake and Bunny is that their returns tend to be very, very consistent. So whether you're staking for passive income, you can pull out rewards quite daily and the daily returns are going to be fairly decent as well. Or if you're going to be investing for the long run, you can just keep your Cake and Bunny into the pool, in those pools, and not worry about it, and come back in a few months, come back in a year's time, and you're going to have some pretty good returns because the APYs are fairly good. All right, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If there's anything you found interesting or perhaps surprising from this video, please feel to drop a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Until then, see you next time.